right, so I learned a pretty interesting fact the other day. So me and my wife Breton love to go to London, and so the past couple times I've been in London, I've been
UK?
really getting UK
Yeah.
exactly not London, Ontario, not like my 6 hour trip to London with Kale last week.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so London, UK. So what am I saying? Okay, so I really got into these. I guess a really like big type of show there are these like panel shows. I don't know if you ever watched them, but they're kind of like panel comedian shows. So like you know
Like a
how
talk
like
show, but a bunch of people, right?
yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like it's not like 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 James Corden interviews a bunch of people and Graham Norton interviews a bunch of people. So it's not like a talk show, but it's kind of again like a comedy show. So there's one called like Mock the Week. There's one called I don't know. Anyways, there's these ones where basically you just have like a panel of comedians and then they like comment about the week or the news or whatever the theme of the show is or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So one of these shows is called QI, which stands for quite interesting. I actually had to look that up. It's the Quite Interesting show, but it's kind of a play on IQ. It's kind of like a smart show. It's kind of like a show that talks about like, intelligent things or things you might not know, or, like again, the arts and science and physics and all this stuff like that or whatever, right? And so I've been watching all of these clips on YouTube a lot, right? And I found out a really interesting fact about this. Okay, so you know the rule. Let's see if you know the rule. I before E.
Like
How do you,
like vowels?
I before E except
After C? What is it?
C.
No.
Yeah. So that's the general rule, right? Like I
Yeah.
before E except after C or whatever, right? So like for example, ceiling, right? It's E before I because it's after a C, right? So that kind of works, right? And I guess tie, I guess I before E, like that kind of makes sense. Like that's not after C or whatever. So I before E except after C. And this is the kind of rule that we grow up learning, right? So it turns out this is actually like an anti-rule. So it turns out in the English language, it turns out there are 21 times the number of words that break that rule versus adhere to that rule.
21. Sorry, not 21. 21
Times.
like 21 times more.
Yeah, so if you count all the words that adhere to the rule I before E except after C, and you count all the ones that break that rule, there are 21 times more words that break the rule than adhere to that rule.
Okay.
So yeah, so there you go.
That's a bad rule.
Yeah, exactly. So again, another PSA
English.
from your friends at the ETC podcast. All right, welcome everybody to episode 44. Yeah, episode 44 of the ETC podcast, your one-stop pod for entertainment, technology, cars, and all things random. My name is Casey Lee, and sitting across the city, as always, is
Aaron Sedanka. I feel like the last two episodes we didn't say our names.
Yeah, exactly. So Breton was kind of like in preparation for the podcast, she was kind of like mimicking what I do. It's like, oh hi, I'm Casey Lee, da da da. And she said, and I was like, I didn't even mention our names over the last couple episodes. And I think it's a staple little thing that we add in, but maybe not. Maybe people don't really care about it. Who knows? Like maybe they couldn't care less about who they're actually listening to, if they're actually listening at all, actually.
If they forgot, maybe they forgot our names.
Yeah, exactly. But you know me, I like to talk about myself in the third person a lot and get my name out there, and may as well tack on your name as well. So
yeah.
All right. So we're dealing with a new setup tonight. I've got
unplanned.
Nice,
both of us just
That's just how simpatico we are tonight. Lots of interesting stuff going on this week. There is first of all, I want to mention that our podcast is on yet another new platform. Thanks to the lovely people at anchor.fm. Again, you wake up one morning and then the podcast is on a new platform. So our podcast
you don't even
is
know
now
which platform it is. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even know. And even if you are the one to receive the email, you don't even know what platform this is. So we are now officially on Breaker.
Okay.
I don't know what Breaker is. For those who listen, thanks for listening on Breaker. But I do have to make a correction. It turns out that Anchor no longer supports Stitcher. So even though I've been promoting how we're going to be on Stitcher, unless we put a little bit of effort in, which is probably not that much effort, we're not going to be on Stitcher for a while. So
it exists. Anchor is not connected.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you guys are out there and you really want us to be on Stitcher, send us an email at podcast.etc@gmail.com and we'll get back to you. Okay, let's do the news here. So Aaron, I have a little beef with you.
No.
It's not. I phrase it like, oh, it's gonna be this. Oh, what's this beef gonna be? But obviously, I'm joking a little bit. So one of your big news stories last week or 2 weeks ago. You talked. What's that?
Cougars?
Yes.
Is that?
Yes. I have a beat. No. It's not Cougars. Actually, it's not Cougar. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago. You talked about movies you were getting excited about and trailers that were coming out. And before I get into this story, by the way, the official trailer dropped for Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yes.
So that not just the teaser, the big one is out now. But you talked about a movie, an 80s sci-fi movie that's being rebooted called Dune.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So Dune's coming out. Awesome, right? And I was kind of like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. I never really knew much about the original.
Yeah.
Don't know much about the new.
Actually, I think I know where this is going.
You left out a very major
I was
fact.
actually thinking about this after. I'm like, oh, I didn't mention that. I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say.
Which is?
That it's directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Directed by Denis Villeneuve, yes! This is a huge thing. So director Denis Villeneuve, who did Arrival, which, by the way, I don't know if you've rewatched Arrival, but to be honest, upon second viewing is not as good as the original first time I watched that movie.
I mean, yeah, it's a good movie. I think realistically, there's not a lot that happens in it.
Yeah.
So
and maybe because the first time was in the theater and the second time was on a small screen, so maybe that was a big factor or whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, Denis Villeneuve directed that. So, but he's also directed like a crazy amount of other movies. Sicario, which I never saw, but I heard. I mean, you said it's really good.
It's great.
Right? Yeah. There was one called Damages, I think, or something like that, with Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman, I think.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched that.
Yeah, I haven't really watched that either. And to be fair, as big a Denis Villeneuve fan as I am, I've really only seen two of his movies. One being Arrival, and the other one, which has me kind of excited about this, is Blade Runner, right? Yeah. So we went to see Blade Runner together, and again, another kind of 80s sci-fi movie that was redone. And I thought the new Blade Runner was awesome. Like, I thought it was a really good movie, right?
Yeah. So he knows how to do that kind of, atmospheric sci-fi, whatever you want to call it.
That's a perfect description. Atmospheric. His atmospheric stuff is really, really cool. Yeah. So Denis Villeneuve's Dune is coming out. No Frills just dropped the new album.
No Frills.
Yeah. So the grocery chain.
I was like, what?
Yeah. So the grocery chain has dropped.
Oh, you're not joking.
This is legit. This is legitimate. So I was watching the Emmys on Sunday, which by the way was really cool. Like the Emmys big award show, the way they did it virtually was really good and really funny and stuff like that. So then this commercial comes on, and it's like, yo, No Frills is dropping a brand new album. Check this out. And it's like you can find it right now on Spotify. Like if you go to Spotify,
it's hilarious.
And again, FDK. No Frills is this kind of budget conscious grocery store in Canada. And if you look up No Frills on Spotify and other streaming platforms, they have this. It's called Haulin State of Mind is the album, featuring such hits as Bananas, Bag It Up, 88 Sale, So Fresh.
Oh, these are like original songs.
I think they're original song. Now the longest song I'm seeing here is 2 minutes and 3 minutes and 14 seconds. That's a real song. I mean, I haven't actually listened to this yet. I'm very curious. I would love to play it from our audience right now, but again, we don't have rights to it. So, but yeah, Haulin State of Mind. You can download on Spotify and other listening platforms today. Released by No Frills. Check it out.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome album.
I like how we went from, 8 years ago, actual artists giving us permission to play music. And great art, like legitimate artists, right? Legitimate, performers to, mentioning that No Frills. And we can't even play it.
And we can't even play it. Yeah, we're like not only are we mentioning lower who knows, maybe we're downplaying this too much. Maybe it's a super legitimate album of the year.
We can reach out to the No Frills executives, or if they're listening.
Yeah.
Give us permission to play a song.
Bag It Up or 88 Sail. Yeah. Check it out, the No Frills album, Haulin State of Mind. I'm curious to listen to this album. Maybe we should both listen to it and pick our favorite track. I mean, it's only going to take an hour to listen to the thing. Okay, so our mission, not by necessarily next episode, let's go easy on ourselves here.
Yeah.
But within the next couple episodes, that we will have listened to the full Haulin State of Mind album, and we will talk about it for sure. What do you got? You got anything?
I feel like following up the Apple event, talking about events. Tesla, I don't know if you saw, had an event, and I was actually going to ask you.
No, I didn't.
What the results of the poll that we put out?
Yeah, okay. I was going to say
because actually, regardless of the results of that poll, I'm going to talk about it anyways.
Yeah.
Well, what were the results before I talk about car news?
It's crazy. We had an actually overwhelming response. Like, it was crazy. We so again, for those who didn't listen to the last episode, we there's some controversy as to whether or not ETC podcast should do more car news or less car news. And the way we word it, the way we did it is through a Twitter poll. I said, should we do more car news on the ETC podcast? And there's 3 options: hell no, hell yes, and hell indifferent. And we opened this poll for 7 days. So technically there's still 1 day left in this poll. So if you want to get your vote in, you still can on Twitter. Follow us at the ETC podcast. Again, overwhelming response. We had 5 votes. Yeah, not too many. So I don't know how
is the poll still open so that anyone listening to today's show, as we get into car stuff, can change their mind and download.
I mean there is one day left. So technically, if we get the episode up tonight, then maybe they have some time to change their vote. Actually, maybe this is worth talking about, the update of the amount of people that listen to our podcast. So the estimated people that listen to our podcast right now is somewhere between 20 and 25 people. Now, again, on my device alone, I have 3 apps that are downloading our podcast. So, excluding mine and maybe yours, I mean, I'm sure you have 1 or 2 that you're downloading the podcast with. So I'd say roughly we have 15 to 20 people regularly listening to our episodes. So not exactly representative of the listening population here. There's 5 out of 20 or so people.
Yeah,
but
this is a lesson in democracy, right? If you if you don't vote, then let the 5 people, 6 people.
Yeah, five people.
We're talking about this as if this is some controversial.
Oh man, it's but here's the thing. I find it controversial because so I must admit, I'm very self-conscious when we talk about car news and even a little bit tech news. Like I know we're called the Entertainment, Technology, and Cars podcast, but I try to sway it as much that it's kind of wide-reaching. So even if we're talking about Apple stuff, right? It's kind of how would the general population talk about this? They wouldn't be talking about, Xcode Swift version, whatever.
Right. Yeah. We're nerds is what you're saying.
Yeah. And I try to dial that back a little bit when we're on the air here.
Yeah.
Okay. So without further ado, here are the results. And again, take this into context that it's 5 people, which means every 20% is 1 person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start with the lowest. Hell indifferent, 0.
Nice.
So that's good.
There we go. People have an opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And obviously, if I give the next figure, it's going to obviously reveal the other figure. So, Well, why don't you tell me? Do you want to see? Do you want to hear the hell no or the hell? Actually, what is your prediction? I'm curious about that. What is your prediction of the poll results?
I mean, I would assume that what was the yes option? Hell yes.
Hell yes and
I would
hell
assume
no.
that one mostly because this is a poll where there's very little consequence to someone voting yes. Like it's just basically like we're gonna talk more stuff, right?
Okay,
Like,
so what's your prediction in terms of the
oh,
percentage?
the split. I don't know, like 80% yes,
Okay.
70, 80, like something like that. There's probably like one person or something that I'm assuming there's always one person.
Okay, Aaron said anchor. Hell yes. Won by 80%.
Nice.
You got
Cool.
it right on. So
So is that one person?
one person
no.
voted no,
Yeah.
and four people voted yes.
Yeah.
So they
We're
want to
gonna
hear
find,
more.
we're gonna
car
find you.
news. Okay, so as far as
It's
we're
anonymous.
concerned, people want to hear car news if we happen to have car
Yeah.
news. So we are gonna do some car news.
Yeah.
What's going on with Tesla?
Yeah, and I feel like this covers technology stuff too. That's a nice thing about Tesla, right? I feel like you
Yes.
can kind of go either way, but they obviously make cars.
And Elon Musk is kind of entertaining, so he's entertainment. a
yeah,
little bit.
three
Who
for
knows?
one.
There we go.
Exactly. So they had an event. You know, like these big public companies, they every now and then have an event. The first half of the event was actually because they're a public car company. I think it was actually more of a shareholder thing. And what was hilarious is, you know, usually these events, you know, they invite a whole bunch of people to a place, right? Like it's either in the factory or some sort of like event space. Obviously, not the greatest idea with COVID and everything. They
Yeah.
can't do that. So what they did was they just had it out. I think it was outside their factory in a giant parking lot.
Yep.
And instead of, you know, people just standing around or whatnot, everyone in the audience was in their own Tesla. So
Oh, that's cool. It's kind of like
was-
the drive-in things or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So it's cool. And like, you know, like instead of clapping, like people honked.
Oh, okay, that's
in
cool.
their cars.
That's
It was kind of cool. It was kind of cool, like
Yeah.
take on how to do an event like that, and obviously very much in their brand, right? So, anyways, they called like after the shareholder thing, they call it a battery day, and all the focus was on things they're doing to advance their battery technology and things like that. But yeah,
which people have to understand. Like, if you don't follow Tesla, I mean, their battery technology is more than just about powering their cars, right? It's like homes and
Yeah.
whatever else, right? Like,
yeah, even
maybe it's just homes.
no, it's more than that. Yeah. So yeah, definitely homes. You know, it all comes down, you know, their big strategy is, if you have renewable energy like solar, right? So the sun is only out for so many hours of the day, at least in most parts of the world.
Yeah.
So what happens when the sun's not out? You need batteries to store energy so that you can use it. And then when the sun is out, the solar panels can charge the batteries, and then you have 24/7 energy. So obviously at home, you know, batteries, but there's also some projects in the world now that are starting to do this at like basically the scale of your power company, right? So if your power company puts up a solar farm, they need a lot of batteries. So yeah, all this technology, obviously it's used in their cars, but also storage for homes and utility companies. So anyways, they basically were explaining the next like 2-3 years of advancements that they're kind of like planning and already starting to work on. And again, gets into a lot of like nerdy like battery stuff, which I don't know who's interested in that, but when it comes down to it,
ETC podcast listeners,
Exactly.
clearly battery technology.
But it's like it's crazy, right? Because like I think a lot of people, you know, they're familiar with you know, like a AA battery or whatever. A lot of people don't probably think about, oh, like how is that, like what is like the next evolution of that, right?
Yeah.
So they announce a bunch of things, and you know, all they're trying to do is basically get batteries at a lower price and holding more energy, right? Because that's how, like, that's the main limiting factor right now. Like
Right.
electric cars, Tesla's done a good job making a lot of them, selling a lot of them, but they're still expensive because the batteries are expensive. Everything else in the car is pretty much equivalent to like a traditional vehicle, traditional car. It's all about the batteries. So yeah, one really neat thing, they're exploring a bunch of different materials and stuff like that. But one super neat thing with like the batteries that they're like proposing to make in the cars is like right now you can almost imagine like the bottom of a Tesla as just a bunch of like mini batteries. They actually look like slightly larger AA batteries,
Right.
and it's just
Like
thousands.
literally
of those.
like that's like the way
Yeah.
you're holding up your hand right now.
A cylinder, yeah.
For the people who are listening to this like over their ears, you got to picture you got to tune into our YouTube channel to see how big our fingers are holding
But
that battery.
imagine
But
a double-
are they literally this small though?
They're like, what is that size? Like
D?
there's double A, and then what's a one up from that? Is that
A?
C?
Triple A. Double-
It's like
wait.
a really random size. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like a C battery, I think. Like D's
Maybe.
are the bigger one, right?
Right.
So, anyways, think of it as like something like that. Something between, it's slightly bigger than a double A, but not as big as like a D battery. But
Right.
it's basically the same shape. And again, that they basically use that because a lot of battery technology that's just how batteries are made. And so the bottom of a Tesla is just this giant container of like thousands of those batteries.
Right.
And that's how the most electric cars today. But they basically proposed a pretty cool way to basically one, the like where the batteries go in the vehicle is like a single piece. It's like a complete like molded piece. So if you imagine the bottom of a car, they're gonna basically cast this giant piece that is the exact shape. And the batteries now, like they're not going to be individual cells. They're actually going to be just part of the structure of the car. So
Okay.
they can actually like, conform with the shape of the vehicle and things like that. And they also help basically make up part of the structure of the vehicle as well. So
Right.
it's like the analogy that they actually gave and the inspiration they drew from is, I don't know if you know this, but airplanes. Do you know where the fuel is in a plane?
I'm going to guess based on what you're saying that it's basically at like the bottom.
No.
Wait. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
At the top.
So it used to be, so planes, when I guess they first started having engines or whatever in planes, the fuel was actually just kept, like, it's as if they were carrying like cargo, like they were just tanks, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing in a normal car, you have a fuel tank, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, someone figured out, no, like this is like not the best way to do it. What they actually did was, you know what? Like there's all this space in the wings. So every
okay.
modern plane, the fuel is actually just in the wings, and
Okay.
there's no tank, there's no like separate tank. They just fill up the
yeah.
wings with fuel, and it actually just becomes part of the structure. So
Okay.
it's the same thing they're trying to do with Tesla's trying to do with cars now. Instead of having like a separate tank full of batteries, basically,
Right.
it's just basically part of the body structure. So, anyways, like that, like they announced a bunch of things, and the TLDR there is all these things are hoping, it's going to do a bunch of stuff. One of the things it's going to drive is they're hoping to sell, I think within the next 3 years, an electric car like a Tesla for $25,000, which is like a crazy low price point. So yeah, that was kind of like the main announcements. And then they also announced a new Model S that is just like so. So you
189,000 Canadian, I heard.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. I think 130, 40 US or
Yeah.
whatever. So 189
Yeah.
sounds right. For those that know, or whatever the acronym is, the
FDK, get up.
current, FDK, the current Model S has this silly option and mode called ludicrous mode. And basically,
Silly or best thing ever?
and
Well, sorry,
you've experienced
second,
it.
second best thing ever, next to what you're about to announce. Because I read this too.
So you've experienced it for that one time that I had a loaner
Yes.
Model S that had that.
Hey, we finally have a reason to post that video. I've been waiting to post that video somehow.
Yeah, are you gonna post it? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll post it for
Yeah.
the UTC podcast. Casey Lee and Aaron Sedanker in a Model S and experiencing ludicrous launch mode. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
So, as we both know, it's like the name says, ludicrous, right? Like there's no reason to accelerate that fast. It is just, insane. But what Tesla announced yesterday is there's an even crazier version that you can order now, which is $189,000 Canadian, that has 3 electric motors. So 2 electric motors, I think, in the back and 1 in the front. I think it's rated at about 1,100 horsepower, which is just like, what is that? Like a Honda Civic probably has like 200 horsepower. So that's like, literally 5, 6 Honda Civics. So 1,100 horsepower. But what they're calling it is, it's one above ludicrous mode. It's called Plaid mode. And the reference is and I realize not a lot of people know this reference. So it's like, again, the fact that Tesla names it these things to begin with, like I feel a lot of people will hear ludicrous mode and like, kind of get it.
They'll
right?
think about the hip hop star who went on to go to Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense. But that is actually, that's actually from a movie called Spaceballs. Which I actually haven't. I either don't remember seeing in entirety or I haven't seen it in entirety. I don't know. Have you seen it?
I believe I've seen it in its entirety.
Okay.
And it is definitely an awesome movie. It's like
Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
He's Canadian, right?
He is, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And John Candy, who I believe was Canadian before he passed away.
So entertaining. So anyways,
But this is not entirely new though, right? Because Plaid mode was introduced on the Tesla Roadster 2.0.
I mean, they hinted at it, but like the Roadster is not. You're talking about the Roadster that hasn't come out yet, right? Like
exactly.
So this is the first time it's going to be
that you can actually have it, right?
Yeah,
right.
All
right.
So that was a Tesla event. If you can pre-order a Plaid mode Model S if you have $189,000 lying around for.
You can't upgrade your existing Model S to get that mode, can you? No, because it's an extra motor, I guess.
I think it's not just a motor; it's a batteries. I think some of the battery stuff they announced yesterday is actually going to be in this new Model S. So completely different vehicle.
All right, pre-order your Tesla Model S for only a meager 189,000 Canadian dollars. No time like the present to spend your money on a car that you probably won't really ever drive because of what's going on in the world. So we're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back after this. And we are back with episode 44 of the ETC podcast, your one-stop pod for entertainment technologies and cars and all things random. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at the ETC podcast or send us an email at podcast.etc@gmail.com. We are on all your favorite listening platforms. If you're listening to this right now, I don't know why I keep needing to repeat that, but spread it out to the world. I don't know who's going to stumble upon our podcast randomly, but you never know. So you're talking about about Tesla and their kind of event. It's kind of interesting what people are doing with events. Did you watch the Emmys or?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it was super cool. They did something really kind of funny with the intro that maybe I don't want to spoil. So do people watch award shows after they're done? I feel like not, right? Is that
I feel like anything is fair game in today's in today's situation, right? Because again, like if these things are not there's no big difference between these happening live or not, right?
Right.
Because I don't know how the Emmys. I'm assuming there's no live huge audience, right?
Well, so this is the thing. Okay, so spoiler alert. Yeah. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen the Emmys yet and you're sitting and waiting to watch them, don't listen to the rest of this episode. But come back for episode 45. So they did something kind of funny where because I tuned in about 30 seconds late. But even if you watched from the beginning, you would have kind of thought that. So they kind of shot it in a way that pretty quickly you would have figured it out. But it kind of looked like there was a real award show going on. So Jimmy Kimmel was the host. He came out and he's like, "Oh, welcome to the whatever Emmys. How can we be having an award show now? Like this is crazy." And they kind of kept like, and they even had like the original shot when he hosted, I guess, like years ago, of him walking out into the crowd, and then they kept showing like they kept
they're
showing
like
the
previous
crowd.
footage then.
Yeah, and people
Yeah.
laughing and all this stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And then eventually they, again, spoiler alert, eventually they cut to an image of like a video of Jimmy Kimmel in the audience laughing.
Right.
So he's like, how can this be or whatever?
Yeah.
And then they kind of show the lights and they show that everything's empty. And it's funny because it's supposed to be really funny, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's also a little bit sad. It almost reminds me of a scene in a movie where like you know those movies, like, have you ever seen the movie Shattered Glass with Hayden Christensen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember at the end of that movie when, because like kind of the whole movie, right? He's talking to his a class about what it's like to work for the New Republic, and then at the very end, it kind of like all the students kind of fade away, and it's I think the way we're supposed to interpret that is that this was just all in his head, like his fandom was all in his head or whatever,
Right.
And it's kind of like this sad moment where you're just like, oh my god, it's like this wasn't real.
The fantasy
right?
is yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just all because like he's so in love with the idea of wanting to be famous that he's kind of picturing this in his head, right? And I know that's not what the Emmys were going for, but it felt sad a little bit like that. It's like, oh my god, like this is what things have come to. But that being said, it was super cool. It was really funny. A lot of great things happened. I mean, you heard about Schitt's Creek winning like every comedic award, so really fun for Canada. So that's super cool. But yeah, so definitely some cool stuff there. Just really quick note. Again, don't want to make this an Apple episode, but there is rumors now that the iPhone 12 event is happening October 13th. So
and again, like I agree. Like seeing all the events and how the companies are kind of adapting is really fun. Apple. I read a really good article the other day on how Apple's just like really well suited to have gone to these kind of virtual events because it's almost like, like I think before COVID happened, their events were pretty big productions, but it's funny because, all the kind of like audience stuff and it being live almost took away from the fact that like they're almost running it like a very high production kind of show, right? So now it's just like, it's just 100% like high production show. Yeah. So, the Apple events have been great.
So we've been off the air for a little bit of time, right? Like before we came back, 8 years. So lots has actually happened in that time. There was a bit of news that like ETC, right? Like, C is cars and we would do a lot of entertainment technology and cars news but the C I think can extend to a lot of different things. And there was something that we used to cover every now and then that would fit into the C category.
Okay.
And so I don't know if we ever talked about this because it happened again while we are off the air. But Tim Hortons has released a new cereal. I don't know if you've seen this thing.
Wait, are we okay? So this is not actually car related.
No, it's another C. It's cereal.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So did you know about this? That Tim Hortons has released two cereals, not only one cereal, two cereals.
No, the Tim Hortons news doesn't show up in my Apple News feed.
In your feed. So yeah, Tim Hortons. I gotta actually Google this because I can't remember exactly what the two flavors are.
They never had cereal before, did they?
No. This is a brand new I don't know if it has anything to do with the Burger King takeover. They also introduced like roast beef sandwiches recently, which I don't know what's going on with Tim. Don't get me wrong, I eat at Tim Hortons quite a bit, but I don't know what's going on with their food. Okay, so there's Timbits chocolate glazed cereal, which is not too far off from like Count Chocula or whatever, right?
Right. It's like chocolate frosted flakes or something.
They kind of look like corn pops, actually, is what they look
like.
Okay. Kind of like circular chocolate corn pops. Yeah. And then there's the birthday cake flavored cereal.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. So yeah.
Who do you think do you think this is targeted towards like kids? I'm just kind of curious who would buy this.
It's a good question because I mean, I might actually at some point
Casey
try
Lee.
this. Yeah.
That's who.
But I am very well aware that I'm not in the majority of 38-year-olds, who eat. I don't know, but like the commercial that I saw for this thing, I think it was like a 30-some-year-old guy eating these things. So I don't know. I mean, would you? I mean, do you eat? No, you don't eat cereal anymore, do you? You haven't eaten cereal.
It's been a while. I mean, and I think the last few times I ate cereal was like really like a snack.
Right.
Like not as like a meal.
Right. Can you remember? Like, can you remember the last cereal that you ate?
Probably Cinnamon Toast Crunch or
Yes, that is
something
good.
like
That's a good last one.
Something that's not a meal, right? Like complete,
Right.
just like no nutritional value. Just
Yeah. But here's the thing about cereal, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think even the unhealthy cereals have some amount. Like, I think they're healthier than a chocolate bar. I would assume. Like, they have some stuff in it, right?
I mean, that's a low bar, but
Okay, let's look. Okay, let's look at this.
and you
Okay,
add
here we go.
if you have it with milk, like I mean, it is a complete enough meal, right? Like maybe not the
Yeah.
healthiest, but yeah, it is a meal.
I can't find the nutritional information on this, so I can't gauge it on
The
it.
Tim
Anyways,
Hortons, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, whatever. Timbits. Sorry, I forgot to mention they're called Timbits cereal. So it's Tim Hortons.
Oh,
Timbits
okay.
cereal. Yeah. So I guess
Okay.
they're supposed to be like mini Timbits.
Yeah.
I have to assume they're crunchy though. They're not like
Yeah.
soft bready stuff in your milk or whatever.
Just have some milk with your Timbits, yeah.
Yeah. But they got to be doing relatively well because like they're still on sale, and I think this thing came out like months ago. Anyways, $1.97 at Walmart. You can buy that Tim Hortons cereal.
Oh, this is not even just at Tim Hortons. Like this is like legit. You go to the grocery store.
Yeah, it's made by
okay.
Post. Yeah, you can
Interesting.
get this. Yeah, now you're
that makes more sense now. I was trying to figure out, like, you're going through the Tim Hortons drive through in the morning. You just need a side of what was it? The birthday
cereal.
one? Yeah.
The birthday cake cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this
Yeah,
makes
no,
more
that would
sense
be
now.
really funny. And they serve you a bowl with milk, or
Yeah.
kind of like those travel cereal
In a cup.
boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, or where you open it up or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, Tim Hortons Post cereal. All right, so now it's time for our weekly segment. What is on Aaron's noggin? I think that's I keep changing it, but whatever.
Yeah,
What happens to
it's-
be on Aaron's noggin?
Yeah.
I noticed no hat today. There's no hat on Aaron's noggin
So
today.
that is true. Yeah.
Anyways,
So there's no hat, but what is on? This is actually something that I discovered through work because obviously, I'm working remotely, as is the rest of the company, and there's a bunch of video equipment recommendation stuff that we have, and I was looking at maybe getting a new webcam. Something I saw that I didn't know existed. I don't know if you know this exists. So I think this company made microphones or something, but do you know the company Marantz?
yeah, they make actually really high-end audio equipment. I think
Yeah, they're
like
so like audio
hi-fi-
equipment company, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Really, I think they make really high. Like, if I'm not mistaken, like they make hi-fi system. I don't really know what a hi-fi system is, but
Right.
like,
Receivers. and-
high-end audio
Okay.
equipment. I think I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, they
So
make
I
receivers and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I saw something. I'm pretty okay. Unless again, classic ETC. Like I've done zero research other than I just saw a picture of this thing and like some details. So this
Go research yourself. Go figure it out yourself.
I'll post a link. But I'm pretty sure it's the same company because it's the same like spelling and everything. It'd be weird if it was like a different Marantz, but it could. I have done no due diligence here. So they
So
make
what's the story?
they make this. I don't know what you call it. I'll just say it's an all-in-one video conferencing thing. Okay. So it's on a pedestal. It has a 4K like webcam camera.
Okay.
It has a ring light
Okay.
and like hi-fi like microphone and speakers.
Oh.
So it's like an all-in-one thing, and it just plugs in
that's
through
interesting.
USB or like USB-C, and that's it. You're ready to go. It's like you basically just put it in front of you, take it wherever, I guess. But I saw that, and it's like that's like super smart, right? Because
I gotta Google. I gotta look up this thing up.
Yeah, I I don't know what you're gonna search because I don't even know the model number.
Marantz video conferencing. I'm sure Google will figure it out.
Yeah, so it basically looks like it's on a stand, like an integrated.
Yeah, no, I see it here.
Yeah.
Marantz broadcast video streaming.
Yeah.
Webcam system with ring light. It looks really sleek too, actually.
Yeah, and it's not that expensive. I think.
Yeah, it's not crazy expensive.
$200-$300 or something like that.
Yeah, $270. Huh.
Yeah. So it's like super smart, and like I love when, because I think that company's been around for a while, and I love when you like things like this come from companies you wouldn't expect, right? It's like when you see it, it's like there must be a huge demand for this kind of thing right now, and it makes total sense. Like it's like why have all these separate things? You need like a microphone, camera, like everything, right? Like lighting, like why have all these separate things? So it's just super smart. So like I'm actually considering getting one because like, especially if I want to just have like a video call from like somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
I like the concept of being able to take that to like another place or like even just like around the house or something.
Yeah.
So that just like seems like a really cool product, but like I feel like every bit of thing every week I'm doing now includes a rant, or like not a rant, but like some commentary on this whole thing.
Yes. Well, I very much appreciated your pre-commentary to the Cougar story about Apple News in general.
Yeah.
So is this going to be a post-commentary on the Marantz video
exactly?
conference?
And so this thing is great. This is more just like a wider commentary on the state of this type of technology, right? So I can't count how many video calls, like both like for work and personally, over the last few months, and you probably the same, right? Like probably
the ETC
every day.
Podcast Off the Hook ETC podcast is like once a week.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah.
No, I agree. No, you're totally right though. You're totally right. Yeah, totally.
So like it's how a lot of things we take for granted today around communication, like messaging, things like that. It's very standardized, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when you first got a phone and like there was actually a different degrees of people's ability to communicate just through messaging? Like some people didn't have data. So like,
yeah.
Right. And then when things like, I don't know what the first, can you remember the first like internet messaging on a phone you did? Was it iMessage or was it something else maybe? Like,
so I used eBuddy.
eBuddy, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember eBuddy?
Yeah.
But it was more because it integrated with like MSN and all these things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So like, back when that first started becoming a thing, there was a huge range of like, different experiences, right? And some people didn't even have like full keyboards and stuff. So you get these weird like, like remember those messages you get where it's just like not even like full words? Anyways.
Yeah.
But so then like whenever that first person with like an iPhone and like connected data came, you felt like you were like on another level, right?
Yeah.
I feel like video is still in that category where like, even when we try to do informal like nights to just like hang out or whatever, like everyone's on completely different like range of like some people like you just like you can't even see them. There's just like a blur, and then every now and then things cut out. Like it's just like it's really sad. And before it wouldn't matter because like you would only do this once in a blue moon, but now you're noticing because it's like literally every week you're doing it. And it's just like I feel like we're so far away from like everyone just being really on the same level. And like even like when we're doing this, it takes so much setup, right? And this is decent video, but it's like nothing. It's like nothing compared to like professional video and things like that, right?
Yeah,
like,
no, totally, yeah.
So yeah, I think like this is the first thing that I've seen. Like the only other thing that I've seen is Facebook's portal device.
Yeah.
So like
right.
They have that like, and it's apparently I haven't tried it. It's for what it is. It's great. It's phenomenal because all it is you just have everything in one, right? And you can literally just give this to anyone. It has a screen and has like speakers and microphone. And they just have to click who they want to talk to. And if the other person on the other end also has a portal, then they get the exact same experience, right? There's no setup, there's no anything. So obviously, there's downsides to that. Like it only works for like Facebook use cases, and I don't really want like a Facebook device maybe in my home just to do that.
Well, also it has that technology where like it follows you and stuff like that. So even like it figures out framing for you and all this stuff, right? So
So there just needs to be more like that. And so it's cool to see stuff like this. And like, I can't wait for the day when, 80% of the people have like that quality of setup, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I hope it's like mainly a software solution rather than a hardware solution. Like you know, like how iPhone is getting so good. Like the cameras are getting so good, but it's not really I mean, the cameras, don't get me wrong, they're putting good cameras in these things.
Yeah.
But it's like the cameras combined with Apple's like brilliant software engineering, and Google, don't get me wrong, Google does it too, Dave. But like so I hope it becomes one of these things where it's like, oh no, you don't have to buy something. It's like literally on your iPhone, it'll figure out everything for you, right? Like already they're doing that crazy thing with the eyes, right? Where it's like you can have a FaceTime call, but the eye contact remains or whatever. Like I hope they figure out lighting and audio and all this stuff, and that it's just like, you know, plug and play and you hit go, right? But you're totally right though. It is kind of a mess right now. Like it's ridiculous.
I think
right?
software has come a long way, but I mean, I think there's just like a lot of hardware that needs to come along too. Like I don't know, like I feel like the same way that, you know, you have dedicated, most people have like a TV and things like that. Like I don't think it's going to be far fetched to have like a dedicated device that is just like, that's how you basically do like high definition 3D video and everything, and like you just have it on and you know. So yeah, that's my rant, or I don't know, that's a rant.
No, I mean it's a very good point though. It's a very good point. It I like the analogy to like kind of going back to that nostalgic time where communication was a mess.
So bad.
So all right, we're coming to a close here on this episode 44, but before we do that, we have another regular segment that's becoming kind of regular. And I did not compose the theme again. I have it in my head about how amazing this theme is going to be for this jingle for this little part. But Aaron and Casey do have correspondence again.
That's awesome.
We do it. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to all our Twitter followers. You know, all like, how many do we have now? All 19 of you.
Nice.
I really do appreciate it. But we just before this episode started, we got a brand new follower. I think you probably know him, Dylan. From Shopify. He's a UX research lead.
Actually, I just told him about the podcast today. Okay. So very quick on that.
So, big shout out to Dylan. He looks like a really happy dude. Like he's just hanging out in the mountains on his Twitter profile.
Super happy, yeah.
I mean, he himself is not hanging out on the mountains. He's hanging out in front of some trees that is in front of the background mountains. Now, again, I feel like only a UX guy would figure this out. He's got like foreground trees and background mountains.
Yeah.
Like using the Twitter thing. Like, so yeah. So big shout out to Dylan. Thanks for following us. But our good friend Andrea has left us many messages. One message about Fortnite versus Apple. We don't cover that because, we are not an informative podcast. But you can check out NPR. They have a brilliant podcast on it, according to Andrea. So definitely check that out. But here's what she wrote in. Here's what our friend Andrea has written in. So episode 43, emailed us at podcast.etc@gmail.com. Hey guys, so I'm pretty behind in using all the features of my iPhone. Your podcast is prompting me to learn. There you go. I started investigating Siri because my Bluetooth in my car is very limited and I have to play a podcast before I start driving and can't stop it or change it. Unfortunately, I discovered it has to be plugged in to work, but now I'm playing with it at home. Those who want wireless CarPlay, be sure to buy a BMW. That's the way to go. All right, I went to leave you a voice message on your website, but thought I didn't have the right tech to record and had to make my own recording and voice memo and copy it to the website. Below is the result. But FYI, I did figure out how to use your website to record. It wasn't hard. That's right, guys. You can leave us a voice message on there. I just got excited to try this at first. Very important message below. I'm only halfway through the episode, but super interested in the Social Dilemma movie. It's the second time this week it was mentioned. My colleague actually told me he went out and deleted all his social media accounts.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy, yeah. Curious if my opinion will change after seeing the movie, but there have always been ads around. I never click on them, but I'm sure they're influencing me in some way. Where thoughts go, energy flows, so we're all connected, good or bad. It's up to us to choose what to focus on and how to react to it. Thanks for helping me think of something besides work, wedding, moving, and renos, Andrea.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I love how like in depth these correspondents are getting. Like they're taking our podcast to another level.
Yeah, like they
I don't think I could have worded it that eloquently.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like our correspondents are actually giving our podcast some useful information and insight to people, unlike the hosts of the podcast. That is Casey Lee, and sitting across from me, as always, is Aaron Sedanker. All right, here is her voice message after all that build up. Here we go.
Oh my goodness, I just learned how to get Siri to listen to me to open a voice memo and record this. Very exciting. So first of all, I need to say you can't use FDK. FDK is taken. It means full day kindergarten. You just can't use it. Also, that's all I got right now.
Okay. So I have to confess, I did listen to the first like 10 seconds to just make sure the audio was working or whatever. And so that's Siri that I'd heard before. But FDK is taken. Full day kindergarten. I have a feeling the overlap of people who know FDK is full day kindergarten versus the people who listen to us is basically one person. Yes, yeah. Although maybe there are other teachers who listen to us. Who knows?
Write in, leave us a message.
Yeah, my sister-in-law is a teacher, so she might have known that as well. So yes, I'll see. I think we're gonna win the fight on FDK. I feel like
okay.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna like
we're gonna win against kindergartners. I think.
Yeah, yeah. Take that. They'll have to do something else. Like, I mean, look, WWE. Or WWF lost, so we're gonna win this fight, just as important. So, all right, thanks for writing in, Andrea. Thanks for leaving a voice message. If you guys want to leave your own voice message, visit our website at anchor.fm/the-etc-podcast. You can also email us at podcast.etc@gmail.com. But that has really been it for this episode 44. Aaron, any last words before we sign off here?
No, maybe someday in the future we'll talk about deep issues like Apple versus is it Epic Games? Yeah, it's Epic, right?
Yeah, Epic. Yeah.
One day when we inform ourselves.
Yes, that's
maybe next episode. Yeah,
that is the key. Well, we already have the daunting task of listening to the No Frills album, so don't want to overwhelm our brains here. So yeah. All right, everybody. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, be sure to email us at podcast.etc@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, anchor.fm/the-etc-podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at the ETC Podcast. You can also watch our YouTube channel. If you go to the YouTube website, the YouTubes, and search the ETC Podcast with Aaron Sedanker or Casey Lee, you'll find us. It turns out the short clips that we have on YouTube are actually doing way better than the full episodes. They're probably one of our more successful things that we do. So yes, definitely check that out. But as for now, that is it for this wonderful September 23rd, 2020. It's been an awesome time. I still don't know how to gracefully end these episodes. But as for now, my name is Casey Lee. Sitting next to me, sitting across the city from me, as always, is...
We're doing this at the end now, too. Okay, Aaron Sedanker.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
Plaid mode.